Thomas Jefferson and many of our lauded founding fathers really did suffer the difficulty of yearning for a freedom that would cause them to leave a place they felt oppressed, and at the same time, in their freedom, being gained by the oppression of others. I think that it is always a complex situation, and America is very ambivalent about it. I think it's one of the beauties of Black people that despite even all this difficulty, that we can't get a better reputation, that even if Barack Obama is the president, we can't stop racial profiling, that we have 1 million people locked in prison, that the slave system in the United States, the Atlantic slave trade system, was the only slave system in the history of the world, Michael, for which the debilitation of the family structure was used as a primary means of social control. And then we come up in 2009 and say, oh, Blacks have never had matriarch-headed families, and this is terrible, single parents. We have been single parents from the root of slavery, when our children were sold off, our women raped, and our men debilitated. And that process has continued in various ways, albeit writing civil rights legislation and all those things. And I think right now, there's a spiritual crisis in the Black community, in my opinion, because we have come to the realization, I think, in many respects, that young people push the envelope of critical thinking. Dr. King, in his letter from the Birmingham jail, said, I find myself standing between two opposing forces in the Negro community. One who are so devoid of a sense of somebodyness they've adjusted to segregation. And the other, a few who have achieved some degree of American economic independence and thus have become insensitive to the problems of the masses. And I think we're sitting right there. Barack Obama has arrived. Why can't the boy that lives in zip code 55411 on Broadway arrive? He has everything he needs. He overcame. His mama was poor. I mean, the whole thing. But it's still lauded as the exception to the rule that African Americans make it, and we don't have that conversation. Education is the way out of poverty, absolutely, but if you're graduating kids in 12th grade who can't spell potato, then education doesn't mean much. And even if they go to MCTC for 2 years and get an AA degree and they still can't spell, or wherever else, I love MCTC, I'm just using them as an example. Don't mean it in disrespect, Phil. But if they go somewhere and earn a couple-year degree and they still can't spell, you don't put out any better situation, and then the intergenerational situation doesn't change.